Hello everyone and welcome to another Wavelength Wednesdays. My name is 𝐂𝐲𝐻𝐻 and I am a leadership coach. I help new managers develop leadership influence by mastering their relationships at work and leveraging their communication skills. Are you ready to get on the same wavelength? Fabulous. So yesterday, March 8th was celebrated as International Day of the Woman, and for the entire month of March is being celebrated as Women History Month. Now, the theme for this year's International Women's Day is breaking the bias. All right, and this is a sign that breaking the bias. And so I wanted to speak to you about 3 situations that come up in the workplace specifically for females. All right, and as a female, I've had these situations happen to me, and so along with that, I also wanted to share some tips on how to, well, really questions that you should ask yourself if you're going through these situations. Now, the first type of situation is being called out on expressing ourselves. So it's different. And if you are a man looking at this, I don't want you to just turn it off and like, okay, what is she talking about? I really want you to take the time and listen, and I really want you to take the time and really observe your communication, the language that you use when you're speaking to your female peers, okay? And I want you to observe, even if it's not you, I want you to observe how other males speak to each other and how other males interact with their female peers, because I'm telling you, it is different. Women are treated differently in the workplace. I don't care what anybody says, all right? It is different. And so let me continue. So the first thing is, back to that, being called out on expressing yourself. And so many women have been called aggressive in the workplace when really they are assertive. And if you had to compare it to a male, their male counterpart, it would be different. Okay, it would be very different. And I know I've had that, I've had that feedback that, well, Wave, you probably shouldn't have said that because it was, you just don't, that's not something you said, when, my male counterparts have said worst, all right, and have communicated in worst ways. And it's not to say that because they do it, I, can get away with it. But, I always try to take feedback and I always self-reflect. And when I self-reflected, I'm like, but I didn't really say it in any type of way. And so, these types of things happen to women in the workplace. So maybe you've had that happen to you. The other situation that may have happened to you, and it has happened to me, is having our decisions questioned. We're well capable, we're leaders, we're experts in our field, but here it is, someone comes along and they're questioning a choice that we make, a decision that we make, something that we put out. And what happened in my particular situation is that it escalated into a back and forth, and it got really heated. I got really upset, and then I got even more upset with myself than I got upset, right? And so it happened. It happens, right? In the workplace, that you are questioned, right? And so that is number 2. Don't know if that has ever happened to you. Leave me a comment and let me know which one of these situations that you identify with or has happened to you. And then situation number 3 is being spoken to in a condescending manner. And I've had that happen to me. I am in charge of a department and some other person is telling me, well, this is what's going to happen in my department. Like, are you kidding me right now? No questions, no consultation, no, hey, Wave, what do you think? But this is what I'm going to do. And that area is my I'm an expert in that area. That's my forte. That's my jam, right? But you're telling me what I should be doing in my area. And so that has happened. And, as a woman in that holds a senior leadership role, At the time of this recording, I'm still in my 9 to 5, and so it's real. These things do happen. And so what do you do when you encounter these situations? Well, I'm going to answer you in a form of a question, right? In questions. So question number 1, I want you to ask yourself, is it necessary that I respond in this moment? That situation that I had with the back and forth that escalated, I probably should not have responded in that moment. But when somebody is questioning your decisions, sometimes you try to prove yourself. Sometimes you try to justify. Sometimes you try to explain in an attempt to help them understand why you are making that decision or why you made that decision. And it only makes it worse. It only makes it worse. So is it necessary that you respond in that moment? Many times, no. All right. Then question number 2 is, how does this impact my energy? And energy is important. Your energy is so important, because what usually happens is it throws you off. If you get into a back and forth, if someone upsets you, it throws off your whole vibe for the entire day. Now, in my situation, my background, many of you know that my background is human resources. My job is to be a resource, to serve people, to be a support for them. And so you can't pour from an empty cup. And I think this is why I don't like to get upset, because it depletes me. I'm that type of person, right? And so my energy is important, and I'd like to believe that your energy is important too, because you have other stuff going on. You may have a family, you may have your kids, you may have your spouse you have to go home to, you may have other things going on in your life. So ask yourself, how does this impact my energy, right? And then question number 3 is, what is the best way to manage the situation? Because sometimes the situation needs to be addressed. Now, sometimes it doesn't need to be addressed in that moment. Sometimes you need to check that person in that moment, but you really need to assess what is the best way to manage the situation. Do you wait until it pops up again? Do you circle back until things are heated? Do you stay silent? What is the best way to manage the situation? And I can tell you that this is also dependent on the context. This is dependent on the relationship you have with that person. It depends on the politics of the work environment. How you manage the situation. Many times you have to be strategic. All right, so think about it that way. And then lastly is, what type of leader do I want to be? What type of leader do you want to be? I know that I want to show up as an influential leader. I know that my purpose is to really impact and to inspire. Like my tagline says, I want to connect, inspire, and influence others, right? There is no I didn't fall into that tagline just because. It is who I am as a person. So who do you want to be? What type of leader do you want to be? How do you want to be seen? How do you want to show up? This question will impact the way in which you handle these types of situations. And so I really hope this is helpful for you. Drop me a DM, drop your comments, right? Your experiences in the comments. Let me know which one of these situations you've identified with. Let me know if this helps. Share it out with a family member, share it out with a friend who is female and who is in a leadership role, right? And if you are a male, like I suggested before, really take a step back, assess how you communicate with your female peers, and assess how other males within your organization do this as well. And so I want to wish you happy International Women's Day, even though it was yesterday. And I'll speak to you on another Wavelength Wednesdays. Thank you so much. Bye.